Good evening, Doctor. We are Group 4. Today, our group is going to focus on the scamper technique, which is widely used to improve ideas and develop new solutions. Before we start, let's move to the content outline. Next page. Our presentation will be divided into 5 main parts. First, we begin with an introduction to general overview of the topic. Next, we will explain what Scamper is and how it works. Then I will demonstrate how Scamper can be applied in a real-life situation. After that, the benefits and limitations of this technique will be discussed, and finally, we will conclude and reflect on its overall usefulness. Now I will pass to my teammate to begin with our first part.
Firstly, I'd like to talk with you about creativity thinking, what it truly is, why it matters so much for us, and a practical, powerful creativity method we choose to put this thinking into practice, the scamper technique. First of all, let's start with the most fundamental question: what's creativity thinking? Most people misunderstand creativity. They assume it only belongs to artists, writers, geniuses, and that it is all about creativity and creating completely brand new masterpieces out of thin air. But from the core definition, creativity thinking is far simpler and far more accessible to everyone of us. At its heart, creativity thinking is the ability to generate novel and useful ideas. It's not just random, strange information. It's the ideas we created need to be practical, valuable, and be able to solve real problem. Besides, creativity thinking means thinking beyond routine pattern. It helps us step out of our fixed, habitual ways of seeing things, bringing away from old, repetitive thinking paths. We stop only following what has already been done and start exploring new possibilities. Then, why is this ability so essential in our study, work, and daily life? It played irreplaceable roles in three key areas. First, problem solving. Whenever we face difficult situations with no ready answers, creativity thinking let us find flexible solutions instead of get stuck in old methods. Second, innovation or process, new product, new plans, and new improvements in the world come from creativity thinking. Third, decision making. When we have multiple choices and complex situation, it supports us to make wiser, more comprehensive judgment. Above all, creative thinking equip every individual to respond to new challenges. The world is changing rapidly. Unpredictable problems appear around us all the time. With creativity thinking, we are no longer passive when facing change. We can adapt, adjust, and come up with proper response actively. Next page. Next page. Now that we understand the value of creativity thinking, the next question comes: how can we develop and use it in structured ways? This lends us to creativity techniques. Creativity techniques are practical tools designed to support our ideas generations. They do not only help us come up with new thoughts. More importantly, they help us improve and develop our existing ideas. Most importantly, they provide clear, structured ways for us to think creatively instead of relying on sudden, un- un- unclear inspirations alone. According to the resource we refer to, there are as many as 192 different creativity techniques available in total. Among all these methods, we specially choose the scamper technique, and there are four clear, strong reasons for this choice. First, we choose scampers because our project already have existing ideas and the initial solutions. Instead of starting from start, this allows us to refine and improve what we already have, make our process more efficient and realistic. Second, it helps our groups manage the storming process more efficiently. This is especially useful for us as it prevents confusion and ensures that everyone can actively contribute. Third, this technique fits us with our specific topics and the real-life problem scenario. It allows us to directly apply each step to our case, make our analysis more relevant and practical. Finally, Scamper enable us to present our ideas development process clearly. We can demonstrate how our ideas evolves over time and makes our topics more logical and easier for the audience to understand. That's all. Let's move on to the next member.
Okay, thank you. Now I will introduce Scamper, which is one of the creative techniques used to generate and improve the idea. So Scamper is an idea generation technique to help people thinking more quickly. So structured question is useful because energy us to look an exciting product idea from different to idea instead of the accepting it is. So these techniques help people improve the idea, the product or solution is more system way. So rather than waiting for inspiration, Scamper gave us a clear thinking guide. It was developed by Bob Ible, who organized the techniques into the 7 different thinking action. Because of the Scamper is often used to brainstorm and problem solving, especially when we want to create something better, more useful, or more innovative. In short, Scamper is a particle to support the creative thinking is a simple and structured way. So this slide shows the 7 elements of Scamper model. So now I will explain this element one by one with a simple example. So first, A stands for the substitute. For the mean the replacing one part of something with something else. For example, we can replace a plastic pen body with a bamboo. So the main functions stay the same, but the material become more eco-friendly. So let's say stand for the combine. This means join the two idea or function together. For example, we can combine a pen with a highlighter. By doing this, the product become more convenient and more functional. So then A stands for adapt. Adapt means adjusting something to fit a new need or context. For example, we can adapt the chair design for the children by making it smaller, safer, and easier to use. So this step helps us modify an idea so that it's still the different group of the user of a different situation. So this first 3 step already shows how Scamper help us thinking quickly in a different way. So now let's continue with the next 4 elements. First, M stands for modify. This means change the size, the shape, the color, or the design of something. For example, we can make a phone screen bigger so that it's easier to read and use. So next, P stands for the put to another use. So this means using something in a different way from the original purpose. For example, we can use the glasses here as a pencil holder. This helps us discover new value in exciting object. Then the E stands for the element. This means removing the unnecessary part. For example, we can remove extra button from the device to make it simpler and easier to use. Something reduce complexity can improve a product. Finally, R stands for reverse. This means change the order, the direction, or arrangement of something. For example, we can reverse classroom layout, make discussion and more active interactive. Overall, this 7 step make a Scamper a structured way to generate correct idea. So now that's we understand the 7 elements of Scamper. So next speaker will show how these techniques can be applied in a real problem situation.
Okay, as we have understood how each element of Scamper works, let's see how we can apply the full process to solve a real-life problem. So there is a common situation that many people, especially elderly patients, often forget to take their medication on time. Traditional pill boxes are very basic because they only store medicine and they don't provide any reminders or tracking features. So the question is, how can we improve a traditional pill box to better support users? This problem is about user safety and consistency. Missing medication can lead to serious health risks, especially for patients who rely on strict schedules. In addition, elderly users may face difficulties such as poor memory, limited digital literacy, or physical inconvenience, so the solution must be simple and easy to use. Therefore, instead of creating a completely new product, we use Scamper to rethink and improve the existing pillbox, making it more functional. Next page. Now we will apply Scamper step by step and explain it. For substitute, we can replace the traditional plastic material with a more durable and eco-friendly material, making the product safer and more sustainable. This helps improve long-term usability, especially for elderly users who need a reliable product. Next, let's combine. We can combine the pillbox with a mobile application so that users can receive reminder notifications. This turns the pillbox from a passive tool into an interactive system. Then we adapt the alarm system from phones and apply it to medication schedules. It allows us to reuse familiar technology in a new context without increasing complexity. Next page. So for modify, we can redesign the pillbox into a more compact and portable form, making it easier to carry around, ensuring the solution better fit into users' daily routine. For put to another use, the pillbox can also function as a simple health tracking tool, recording when medication is taken and adding extra value by supporting basic health monitoring. But eliminate will remove the need for manual tracking, which helps reduce human error. Finally, reverse. Instead of relying on the user to remember, the system will actively remind them when they need to take their medication. This takes the pressure off the user and helps them stay on track every day. Next page. So based on all these ideas, just as shown in the picture, we can develop a smart medication box connected to a mobile application. This system can provide automatic reminders, tracks medication history, and is easy to carry and use. More importantly, this final solution is not the result of a single idea, but the combination of multiple small improvements developed through Scamper. Now that we have seen how Scamper can be applied in practice, let's move on to next part, where we evaluate its effectiveness.
Okay, so now let's talk about the advantages of the Scamper. First, it's really easy to learn and use. You don't need to master any complicated tools, so almost everyone can pick it up very quickly. Second, it's very flexible. It works well for different kinds of problems, whether you are designing a product or solving a daily problem. Third, it encouraged creative thinking. The question in Scamper push you to look at things from new angles, so you can come up with new, unique ideas. Next, it gives you a clear, structured way to generate ideas. Instead of feeling stuck or lost, you have a step-by-step promote to follow. Finally, it's great for group work. When everyone uses the same Scamper framework, it's easier to share ideas and build on each other's thoughts. Next page. However, Scamper is not perfect. It also has some limitations we need to consider. First, it may lead to unrealistic or impractical ideas. Since the method focuses on creativity, some of the ideas you come up with might be too hard or even impossible to put into real use. Let's take an example. Suppose we need to redesign a bottle. When we come up with an idea, you might think we should try to change the shape of this bottle to be able to adapt to any kind of cup holder, no matter how large or small it is. This theory sounds great, but changing the shape of the bottle might require more expensive materials, and when it is uncertain whether this material is stable, it might cause the bottle to break. The scamper method does not take these practical issues into account, so it cannot be applied into real life for some extent. Second, it's not very effective for complex or large-scale problems. If you are dealing with a very big or technical issue, Scamper alone might not give you deep enough solution. Third, it depends a lot on the user's own creativity. If you don't have much experience with creative thinking, you might find it hard to get useful ideas from the promotes. This is quite easy to understand. Imagine a team is coming up with ideas from new school event. One group of students who are good at using creative thinking might make the event more interesting and attract more people to participate. However, a group of students who are not good at creative thinking might make the event very boring. Fourth, it doesn't always lead to a fully workable solution. It is good for generating ideas, but it doesn't automatically turn them into something that you can actually use. Last but not least, it lacks a built-in evaluation process. Scamper helps you creative ideas, but it doesn't tell you which ones are good, which one are bad, or how to choose the best one. Therefore, we should use it wisely and thoughtfully, combining it with the other techniques and real-world consideration to achieve better and more feasible results.
To conclude, Scamper provides a clear and structured framework for improving exciting ideas and developing better solutions. It encourages us to thinking from different perspectives instead of asking only one fixed way of thinking. Even though the seven-step Scamper helps us user explore the possibility, generate and creative idea and make the particle improvement. It is especially used to brainstorm and problem solving because it guides idea developing the system way. At the same time, the effective scamper depends on how the tool fully is applied. If it used carefully, it can be lead to meaningful and innovative solution. Overall, Scamper is valuable creative techniques for developing idea is a more organized, flexible, and effective way. This is our presentation reference list. Okay, this is our presentation. Thank you, everyone.